Hello fellow chimney sweeps professionals. The subject of the Sweepsafe technical update today is Type 1 and Type 2 smoke testing. The two tests are very different and they serve different purposes. The Type 1 smoke test is designed to check for leakage, whereas the Type 2 smoke test is designed to check for adequate draft and lack of ventilation. They're performed in quite different ways and we're going to go through those methods with you today. Initially we're going to go through the products with you. So we're going to move over to the table now and have a look at the bits and pieces that we need. Okay, let's talk about the equipment that we need for our Type 1 and Type 2 smoke tests. We'll start with the obvious. We need our smoke pellets in order to generate the smoke. Today we're using 8 gram encapsulated pellets. These pellets burn for 60 seconds and produce 24 cubic meters of smoke each. It's very important that we don't use pellets that are too small, and for the purpose of these tests we only use white pellets. If we use coloured pellets, then what we tend to do is stain whatever the smoke touches, so we use white ones. For a Type 2 smoke test, one of these pellets is usually adequate. However, for a Type 1 smoke test, we will use 1 smoke pellet, and then for every floor, we will add an additional smoke pellet. So that would mean a 3-storey house will be 3 smoke pellets, a 4-storey house, 4 smoke pellets. Obviously the flue is larger, and with a Type 1 smoke test, we're looking for leakage, so we want to make it quite difficult for the chimney. We want to put lots of expanding smoke inside there and actually see where it may leak. There are occasions with a Type 2 smoke test, when it's cloudy outside, that we need to add an additional pellet into the mix because 1 pellet just won't be enough for us to see clearly. Speaking of seeing clearly, our eyes are not as good as what we think they are, so what we need is our trusty binoculars. So when we go outside to view the smoke, we use our binoculars and we can very clearly see the chimney stack and see where smoke may or may not be leaking. Of course, when we perform smoke tests, we need to preheat the chimney. A smoke test should not be performed on a cold chimney, so we need to preheat it. Building regulations state that we can heat the chimney for up to 10 minutes. We would say 5 minutes is usually adequate, but 10 minutes, of course, is the allowance. Today we'll be using good old barbecue firelighters. These are perfect for smoke testing. They're designed to go inside a fireplace so they won't cause any damage. We need something to put those firelighters on, and we're going to use an ash pan. For PPE, for safety equipment, leather gloves, smoke pellets burn very hot. Finally, with a Type 1 smoke test, a Type 1 smoke test is a closed test, whereas a Type 2 smoke test is an open test. Being a closed test, we must have a way to close the chimney. So what we do, we have a sponge. Today we're using sponges. We have a sponge at the bottom of the chimney to close the fireplace and a sponge to cap the chimney pot itself so that we can trap the smoke inside. That smoke will get hot, it will expand, and hopefully it won't leak out along the flue. If it does, we'll know that there's a leak and the chimney needs relining. With a Type 2 smoke test, we place the smoke into an open chimney, an open appliance. We set the appliance to work as it should work, i.e. with the ventilators open, and then we proceed to see the smoke going in and coming out the top, hopefully just from 1 chimney. Okay, let's move on to the testing.